One of the absolute hardest parts of healing from a relationship that hurt you is the confusing contradiction that lives inside your head. You know it was bad, you know you were hurt, but there's still a part of you that really misses them. If that's you, I just want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not alone, and you're definitely not crazy. So let's get into this and try to make sense of it all.
So, why do I miss someone who hurt me? I mean, that's the big one, isn't it? It's probably the question that keeps you up at night, the one that makes you second-guess everything. It feels completely illogical, but here's the thing. That feeling is actually a totally predictable psychological response to a very specific kind of emotional damage.
Wow. Does that sound familiar? If that feels like it was ripped straight from your own thoughts, there's a good reason for that. It's one of the most common things people say after a toxic relationship. It's that exhausting tug-of-war between your head and your heart. And it's a huge sign that you've been through something incredibly complicated.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by really unpacking that unsettling question. Then we'll look at the invisible bond that just feels impossible to break. After that, we'll talk about the mind's tug-of-war that causes so much confusion. And finally, we'll shift into how you can start reclaiming your own reality and find a real path forward.
Okay, so let's jump right in. This invisible bond, this thing that feels so powerful, right? It can feel like love, maybe even like a soulmate connection you just can't shake, but it's actually something else entirely. And I really want to stress this. It has nothing to do with you being weak. In fact, it's proof of a powerful psychological process that unfortunately gets turned against you in these dynamics.
There's a name for this. It's called trauma bonding. And it is so important to get this. This is not a flaw in your character. Not at all. Think of it more like psychological conditioning. It's this intense attachment that's built on a really confusing mix of fear, control, and then moments of kindness. And it's created through a very specific, almost predictable pattern.
In that pattern, it's often called the cycle of abuse. And honestly, it feels like a merry-go-round from hell that you just can't seem to get off of. It starts with idealization. This is the love bombing part, where they are just perfect, your dream come true. But then it switches to devaluation. Suddenly the criticism starts, the blame, the little jabs that just eat away at your confidence. And finally, you get the discard, where they might just vanish, only to circle back later and start the whole ride all over again.
So you might be wondering, why on earth does this messed up cycle create such a strong bond? Well, think about it. Healthy relationships, they're built on steady, consistent affection. But these toxic relationships run on something called intermittent reinforcement. It's all about unpredictability. You get these intense moments of kindness mixed in with all the bad stuff, and that creates this addictive hook in your brain. It's a lot like gambling, You keep pulling the lever on the slot machine, hoping for that little payout of kindness because you never know when it's coming. And that, weirdly enough, creates a way stronger psychological bond than just being nice all the time.
And that whole addictive cycle, it leads us straight into our next point. That crazy, internal tug-of-war that makes you feel like you're losing your grip on reality. This is where the real confusion sets in, because your brain is literally trying to hold two completely different realities about one person at the same time.
Yep, there's a name for that mental discomfort too. It's called cognitive dissonance, and it's exactly what it sounds like, this deep, uncomfortable feeling of being split right down the middle. You've got, I love this person on one side, and this person hurts me on the other, and your brain is just struggling to hold both. It is so exhausting, so disorienting, and it's not your fault. It's a direct outcome of the manipulation.
So let's break that down. On one hand, you have belief number one, the good stuff. The person you fell for, the sweet gestures, the promises, all those happy memories. But then there's belief number two, the bad stuff. The manipulation, the criticism, the pain, the reality of the abuse. And here's the crazy part. This is actually your brain trying to protect you. To cope with the pain of the bad stuff, your brain just latches onto the good stuff for dear life. You start downplaying the bad, making excuses, just hoping that good person from the beginning will show up again. It's not you being naive. It was a survival strategy.
Now, abusers don't just let this confusion happen by accident, they actively create it. And one of their go-to tools is, of course, gaslighting. The whole point of gaslighting is, well, it's pretty sinister. It's to make you doubt everything. Your memory, your feelings, your sanity, until you feel like you need them to define your reality for you.
And this it hits so hard. Gaslighting works because you are reasonable. Think about that for a second. It doesn't work because you're weak or gullible. It works because you're a thinking, reasonable person who's willing to give someone the benefit of the doubt and question your own perspective. An abuser figures that out and uses your own thoughtfulness, your own capacity for self-reflection against you. They literally weaponize one of your greatest strengths.
And here's another tactic you might recognize. It's an acronym, DARVO. It stands for Deny, Attack, and Reverse Victim and Offender. This is their classic move when you try to confront them. First, they'll deny it ever happened. Then, they'll attack you for being crazy or too sensitive for bringing it up. And then comes the big flip. They reverse the roles, making it seem like you're the one attacking them and they are the poor victim. And just like that, the conversation is over. It's incredibly effective.
Okay, so we've put some names to these really confusing dynamics. Now, let's talk about healing. Let's talk about the way out. Because the path out of all this confusion really starts with one crucial thing: learning how to trust yourself again. This is where we pivot. This is all about how you can start taking your power back.
Now, rebuilding that trust in your own mind. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is absolutely possible. And a really simple but powerful place to start is with what you could call a reality-anchored journal. The point here isn't to build a case against them. No, it's for you. It's about creating a private record of your own experiences, your own feelings, so that they're anchored in reality before anyone, including yourself, has a chance to second-guess them.
And if you're just staring at a blank page like, where do I even begin? Try this prompt. It's so powerful. Ask yourself, what happened today that I almost talked myself out of noticing? This question is genius because it cuts right through that habit we develop of minimizing our own feelings. That little knot in your stomach, that weird comment you almost brushed off, that's the stuff. That's what you need to pay attention to. You could also try these simple exercises. Think of one of those negative messages they just hammered into your head. You know, like, you're too sensitive. Okay, now write a counter-argument based on facts. Something like, no, my sensitivity makes me empathetic. From there, you can create a daily affirmation. And the most important part? Just let yourself feel what you're feeling, without any judgment. Every time you do this, you're laying another brick in the foundation of trusting yourself again.
All right, let's wrap up by talking about the path forward. And as we get into this, please be kind to yourself. Because healing, it's a journey, not a race. It's messy, it's not a straight line, and there's no deadline you have to meet.
Did you know that it takes the average person 7 attempts before they leave an abusive relationship for good? 7. Let that number sink in. So if you left and then gone back, or if you're struggling to even make that first step, you are not failing. You are normal. It's just proof of how powerful that trauma bond is. It's literally wired into your brain. Going back doesn't say anything about your strength, it just shows how incredibly powerful the conditioning was. And just knowing that can be a game changer.
So I really want you to hear this. Let it land. After all of the confusion, all the self-doubt, here is the absolute truth. You are not the problem. You are a person whose very sense of reality was systematically attacked. But that damage, it doesn't have to be permanent. Your perception, your trust in yourself, it can be reclaimed. You can get it back, and it might just come back stronger than ever before.
So I'll leave you with this one last question to take with you. And it doesn't have to be some huge, monumental thing. Maybe it's just, I am a kind person, or I am resilient, or even just, my feelings are valid. What is one small, undeniable truth about yourself that you can hold on to today, right now? What's that one little anchor you can have as you take your very next step?